Welcome to a delicious episode of the Careful Boys. I think this is our 5th video today where we're just eating.
It's delicious.
I like to eat.
What is this? This is called For the Win Burgers, all cooked in beef tallow, RFK Jr. approved.
It's good.
Damn.
It's very good.
Apple and banana.
Alright, this is going to be a mini part 2 of what we just shot. Talking about favorite TV shows that really had an impact and shaped us when we were young.
When we were young.
SpongeBob. Here's why. When I was little and I watched a bunch of VHS, I didn't have cable, so I couldn't watch like the shows that were currently on. So I was like, I'm gonna go to Blockbuster and rent some and then it would either be like Dragon Ball Z or like SpongeBob. It's just cartoons. Like I love cartoons. So I got SpongeBob because we never had Nickelodeon. Popped that in and I would just fucking put it on repeat, and I thought it was so funny because like I'm usually home by myself and my parents are always out, so to me this was like a part of like my lifestyle. I'm just at home by myself watching cartoons, and I think I carried that into my adulthood now, even if I'm still with my parents. Like the mentality of just like, dude, whatever I want to do to chill, it's just gonna be me watching anime or me watching cartoons or something. And that's always been my thing. But it started with SpongeBob because, dude, that show is so fucking funny, like even to this day. But I don't know, something about cartoons versus like live action, I don't know, as a kid I was just way more drawn to like the way, how did they make a drawing come to life? Like that was blowing my mind when I was a kid. I was like, how did they draw? Because I knew how to draw too when I was like 3 years old, and I was like, dude, how the fuck did they come out with cartoons that can move this way? And like, yeah, I didn't understand it, but because of that wow factor, it's the same thing with like CGI nowadays. Like, how the fuck did they do that, right? Yeah. So that amazement and that curiosity of like, wow, they made this like come to life, and it just really made me so like I wanted to draw comic books, and it really like defined who I was as an artist for sure, like cartoons especially. And SpongeBob, like the humor, is just so silly.
So you were already into drawing, art, that kind of stuff before you even got into cartoons and all that?
Yeah, for sure. Because I started drawing when I was 3, but then when I got older and I got to pick like what to watch, I would always gravitate towards cartoons because of the art. You know what I mean?
And then so your notebook would be kind of like based on whatever show you were watching at the time.
Yeah, I drew a lot of, I mean, just literally everything in the 90s to 2000s. Like, I drew everything.
Would you rather give up cartoons and anime for the rest of your life or give up sex for the rest of your life?
Cartoons and anime?
Hell yeah.
Damn, he's
That's
a
the right
horny
fucking
bastard.
answer, brother.
Can's a horny bastard.
I didn't know you were a true alpha male like that.
For sure, man.
I didn't know he was such a big horn
sure.
dog. He has a high libido.
Hell yeah, dog.
Dude, yeah, there's no way, man.
Damn.
This guy's cool.
I'm not even thinking about it.
I think my favorite TV shows as a kid was Family Matters and Fresh Prince. Because I didn't really, like, you know, my parents got divorced when I was 6, so I didn't really have a family. I didn't have brothers and sisters either. So I felt like that was like my like look, and Full House, like my look into what a family dynamic was, and it was like heartwarming.
Hey, when Will's dad leaves him, he's like, how come you don't want me, man? That episode?
Oh, dude, that one was crazy.
There were so many moments of The Fresh Prince where you would just be like...
I cried, yeah, a couple times.
That was a
like
big
when
one.
Carlton took the speed or whatever and then ends up in the hospital, and then like Will blames himself.
Oh, yeah.
That was... Yeah. The shows were so good. And I used to be like, oh, my family's not like this.
My favorite episode is the Apache dance. The dun, 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 that part.
Also Saved by the Bell, too.
Oh. I also feel like you relate to like Fresh Prince because he's just like a natural rebel that like doesn't belong, like because you never belonged in any school. So
You know what's funny? When you're a kid, you don't see your faults, right? So I think when I was a kid, I was like, why doesn't Will just listen? And I'm the kid that's getting kicked out of all these fucking schools. I'm like, Carlton is so good. He tucks his shirt in. He's supposed to be...
You like Carlton.
He listens. He does everything right. And this guy is wearing his blazer inside out. Come on, dude. You can't just come from Philly and just think you're gonna repeat the same thing.
My whole thing is, I would think the same way. And part of me would be like, if he just acted a little bit like Carlton, he wouldn't get in trouble so much. Like I would literally think the same.
So
I
funny.
was like, how's your aunt and uncle gonna accept you if you're gonna keep getting in trouble like this?
And in my head, I was like, you have a maid, you have a mansion, dude. You just go to school, you'll be okay. Like that's literally what I thought.
Crazy.
funny.
I was the complete opposite. I would look at Will, and I'd see myself in him, and I think that's most people, right? And then they go, Carlton is such a lame-o, bro.
I'm not a Carlton.
He's such a square.
I'm a Will.
Like, why is Carlton such a lame-o fucking ass kisser?
He had no sense of humor.
Yeah.
Fucking square.
Jacks the fucking basketball at the last second, chucks an air ball, doesn't win the game. That was crazy.
But I remember as a kid too, I would see how like he would talk to girls on the show and be like, I'm gonna try that. Didn't work. Didn't work.
It was like the WB, and it was like a lot of black culture shows.
Yeah.
Like, there was Family Matters.
Family Matters are really good.
Yeah. I think Fresh Prince was on Channel 5, right? And then there was... Was it Sister?
Sister.
There's Wayans brothers.
The Wayne? Yeah, well, I think that was 11, Fox.
Hanging with Mr. Cooper is like,
Mr.
that's a
Cooper.
black show. There's a lot of black
But
shows.
it was, yeah, I watched a lot of that. And then,
Single.
yeah.
That was black.
Because the only white show that I watched was Full House. And then Saved by the Bell, but that's kind of
Married with
multicultural.
Children, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Married with
It wasn't
Children
funny.
was good.
It wasn't funny to me back then, but when you get older and you watch it, you're like, dude, this guy's funny as
Yeah, when I was a kid, I didn't get it.
Really? I love Married with
Yeah,
Children.
because you don't have the perspective of like a fucking dad with like a housewife and all. You can't relate to.
I didn't get it, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But dude, it's
But
like
the
Homer
way
Simpson.
I remember the way it was shot, I was like, I don't want to watch this because it was like kind of like dark and a little like I don't want to say grainy, but it didn't seem as bright as like all the other shows I used to watch.
Yeah, it's not vibrant.
Yeah. Because I remember it always felt like, why is it so dingy in there? Like,
So my friend put me on Married with Children for like he would come sleep over after church, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then he put me on The Simpsons, and I had no idea like there was a cartoon with the bad boy.
Bart Simpson.
Yeah, Bart Simpson, and I was like, what? And then you guys remember Married with Children came on after The Simpsons.
Yep.
So we would watch The Simpsons, and then oh my god, I was even more mind blown. Like, there's all these like hot girls in bikinis, and like, what the fuck?
Christina Applegate.
Yeah.
Oh, I also loved Xena Warrior Princess. And also Hercules.
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 Sorbo and Lucy
Yeah,
Lawless.
just because they're fucking not full strong for some reason. And then it's just fun to see a guy go around like throwing people like 20 feet away.
Bart's like, I'm gonna do that.
But as a kid though, I always did notice like, I'm like, why do white people actions suck so bad?
They're not smooth,
Oh,
bro.
compared to like Jackie Chan or something.
Yeah, I mean later on you find out, okay, this guy's a fucking 20-time wushu master. Obviously they're really good. But then you would watch a fight in Baywatch, and it's like, versus like a fucking Asian movie. It's like,
Which is so much better.
yeah, I'm like, what the fuck? Why can't these two lifeguards fight like they're wushu masters? It's weird.
They do one spinning kick.
But oh yeah, Baywatch for the titties.
You know what's funny is like I wasn't even horny back then because you're a kid, but you knew something about. You just liked watching women.
You just love titties.
Yeah. But then I remember Baywatch was a big one because I would beg my parents for red shorts, and every summer they would drop me off at the beach. So me and my friends, sometimes me by myself, or like, you know, that's just the thing you do. You go to the beach because it's free.
Yep.
And then I'm like thinking back like, dude, 3rd, 4th grade, you shouldn't leave kids at the beach.
There's no adult supervision.
They just left. My dad just dropped us off, and he's like, "I'll be back in a couple hours. You meet me right here."
Damn.
A couple hours.
You know when I think about it, I'm like, dude, it is kind of crazy because where I used to live, if you go 1 block, 2 blocks, 3 blocks, 4 blocks, 5 blocks, like 6 blocks away, there's this park next to where I live, and I remember being like, yeah, maybe like between 8 or 10, and just going, hey mom, I'm gonna go there. And then she's like, all right, don't take too long or whatever. And I leave, right? with no cell phone, no tracker, no fucking AirPod, whatever fucking shit. And then as a parent, you just trust that your kid's okay wandering off to a park that takes 15 minutes to walk to.
Yeah.
And then you just show back up magically.
Yup.
I'm like, dude, if Taika wanted to walk like 6 blocks away right now, I'm like, what the fuck? I don't think I would let him. Dude.
Yeah, but back then nobody knew about like human trafficking, pedophiles. Like they didn't know about that because it wasn't ever on the news. Like if you think about it, when was the last time in the 90s or like early 2000s you saw in the news like, oh yeah,
There was kidnappings and
Yeah,
stuff.
but you saw it on like a milk carton. Be like missing kid, but it'd be like in black and white. So you're like from 1981. You'd be like, oh, I
It
think
wasn't
they're
in their
dead.
awareness at the time, but now with internet and everything, like there's no way the parents gonna let their kids out like that.
But I also do remember like there were just hella people outside, like from kids to everything. Like there was just more people. So like
You know where the neighborhood was because all the bikes were on the lawn.
yeah. Cause like, yeah, thinking back, the beach had more people, and I remember it was normal to see just groups of kids. Well, not kids, but like maybe 12-year-olds, teenagers, whatever, different ages. And then during the summer, they had like a lifeguard summer camp for young people. And what we would do is like watch what they're doing and then just follow their shit. So if they're running, like we're just trying to run and join and shit. So it's like we're a part of the program, but we don't have to pay for it.
Didn't have any like smartphones and shit. Kids would be out and about doing crazy stuff.
There's nothing else to do.
But you think the parents now would allow it? Because I feel like people now are
I think we got
paranoid.
normalized paranoia because of things like constant media consumption.
There's also regular parents still, but what's crazy is I grew up that way, and I find myself relating more to the paranoid parent. So
Because
like,
you know.
yeah, so for example, Taika's school, they technically have like 2 kid receiving times. You have the time that you regularly drop them off, and it's like 8:50 to 9, and that's when the parents and that's when the teachers are there. They open the gate and all the kids walk in. And then there's also early drop off time, which is like 8:20 or 8:30, and there's no teacher there. So you kind of just have to trust that if you drop your kid off at the front, he or she is gonna know how to do the right thing. We tried that one time. So me and Gio go, and we're still doing the normal thing where if we drop Taika off, I want to see Taika walk into the building, and then I'm okay, cool, that's safe. Or get received by a teacher. We go to the school, and there's 50 kids in the front, no parents. And I'm like, damn, these parents just literally just drop them off, and the gate hasn't even opened yet, and they left. I mean, you guys aren't scared something's gonna happen before the school receives them? And I thought I would be more on that side and okay with that. But I'm like, nah, I think I need to see Taika go into the school.
Just for your own.
When did you start walking to school?
When I was a kid, like fucking 6, 5, and I'm walking like 4 blocks.
Yeah, same. Like, what is that, 2nd grade?
1st or 2nd grade,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a trip to see nowadays. You saw some kids
I
walk.
remember being, but I lived I could see my school from the front door, so I couldn't see why my mom was okay. Yeah, I can open up the door and see my school.
There's
in the
hella
corner.
kids that walk to school.
Yeah.
When I go to Taika's school, I see them.
We also sit here for like 12 hours at a time talking about all the terrible shit that happens in the world.
So that's probably it's in your like zone of awareness. So that's why you probably think about that more when you're dropping him off versus the other parents. They probably just don't have time. They're like, I gotta go to work.
Get
out,
them do a
you
Jake
know.
and show.
And then it's like all the other kids are there. It's like, it's cool, you know?
Because that's actually way more safer than what we did. Because that is, at least the parents is pulling up and then letting the kid go. We used to take the bus, the city bus. We used to walk,
Yep.
like, through the neighborhood, fucking by bums that were jacking off in the alley. You know, like...
Yeah.
Dude, yeah, I walked a lot when I was in elementary school, and then I can't count how many times like my parents forgot to pick me up. Where I'm just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna walk home. Like it happens so often that I couldn't believe like. But then now that I think about it, my parents were working a lot. So to me, it's like okay, they did have a choice, but they also it's really hard to keep up with at the same time, you know.
My favorite shit, though, is when my friends knocked on my door on the way to school and then wanted to walk with me.
Hell yeah, dude, that's so wholesome.
Yeah. And then we're like, oh, you're here to pick me up? And then we go together.
Your dad ever go like, no, go away. Did they ever
Nah, they just think it. I mean, that was normal. And then my street was on the way to school, so like a lot of kids walked by. I remember my dog got loose one time and started chasing after kids because he was a happy motherfucker. And this one kid was scared, so he was running. And he went up. He's a big German Shepherd, and then he went. You know how like they stand and they try to hug you. So his paws went like this, and that boy had a white shirt, and he was like, ah! And he fell down, and he was crying and shit. My dog was just licking his fucking face, and I grabbed him and I pulled him, and I saw, and that fool got up and he had 2 paw marks on his chest.
Dang. Now you gotta go school dirty.
And I felt so bad.
I think if I lived a block or 2 blocks away, maybe I would let Taika walk to school.
Maybe though.
Next year.
Yeah.
But not this year.
So what is that, 4th grade?
Or 3rd grade. He'll be in 3rd grade.
Dude, he's still so young.
I also think if you like opened your door and you just saw all these kids all walking to school too, like the norm would kind of like build into your habit.
But also, I think maybe it is fucking just hearing all this news. I just think of all the fucking
Worst case scenario.
weirdos and the kidnappers just opening a van and just scooping a bunch of kids in.
Yeah, but if you saw like 50 kids walking to school, you'll be like, I'll take my chances because they can't kidnap all of them.
I bet you if you ever had like a second kid and then you realize how normal it is and how often those things don't happen, like the kidnappings and all that, you're like, whatever, second kid just drop off. You're probably gonna end up like that.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's true.
I have 2. I can sacrifice 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because by the time my parents had me, I was a 3rd. They were
Yeah,
like,
because
yeah,
as a
whatever.
Parent, don't you kind of want your kid to like figure it out? Because that kind of builds you up.
Fuck yeah, I do.
Too, you know?
So what we do, I guess, in the controlled way of that, and this is cute as fuck, is on Fridays we have pizza and movie nights. So what we do now is we order the pizza right after jujitsu, and then we park in the far part in the parking lot. So he gets his own pizza from Pizza Hut. So we order it and it's like pick up. So you see this guy with a little fucking gi like, walking
Just so
up,
people don't mess with him.
yeah,
and shit,
walking
you know?
up to the counter and his head's like this much above the counter, and you always see the pizza person like smiling. There's a kid in the gi. I'm here to get my personal pan pizza, and then they give him a pizza, and you see him like pay and then like walk out.
That's cool.
That's the only thing. That's like we're trying to like set him up so he can do more and more shit, but we're still there, just in the corner, making sure he's not getting fucking kidnapped. You know?
Oh yeah, dude, what would you do? That's like fucking.
Then you're like, oh fuck.
Oh, someone came and fuck.
Yeah.
Blast that motherfucker. It's
Yeah,
Vegas.
it's done though, dude. It's over.
Fuck yeah, dude.
In his car there, he's got what do you call them?
What?
The zip ties?
Oh, not in this one. Not yet. Everyone made fun of me. I put them away.
Really?
The zip ties.
I does.
I think we were jealous.
Yeah, I got zip ties in my car.
I got extra zip ties. I'll give you zip ties.
Shit, that's right.